Welcome to Forgotten but Unbroken, a turn based tactical war game that celebrates the forgotten and unsung heroes of World War II. It offers a unique perspective into the events of World War II and the strategy game genre. It's inspired by real stories, real events, and it introduces fresh mechanics never before seen in this genre. Overall, it's a top down tactical World War II game, and it has a lot to offer. Creating a complex and immersive tactical game can be challenging. However, they do introduce a bunch of new mechanics, such as the ability to aim down sights, or ADS. This can bring a shot percentage from 50% all the way up to 78, so you can be more disappointed when that shot misses. Overall, it's fun, it's interesting. I really like the tactical gameplay, and it does introduce a lot of new things. The emotional journey of each of the characters is really brings you into the story, and they kind of intertwine it with historical narratives and the events of World War II. They present it on these newspapers featurettes, and it kind of brings you into the story, and it allows you to kind of like embrace this partisan group and hope they succeed. The difficulty is what you would expect, in my honest opinion, when it comes to these tactical war games. It comes down to positioning and luck, and whether or not you just have that luck or that good tactical advantage. This first mission is extremely challenging, especially if you try and fight up the Germans. So I beat it twice by just basically running away. It's just a runaway mission. If you try to choose to engage in combat in this mission, you're really going to have a terrible time. So I did try and just grab snippets of combat so you can see what it looks like. How to ADS, the ability to throw grenades. There's actually a heal mechanic, so you can heal your troops on the battlefield as well. There's a fun little soldier management thing. There's base building. It's a fun little complex war game, and it offers a lot. It's currently in alpha. It's published by Micropose, and I believe it's developed by Centurion Developments. This isn't the first gameplay anyone's seen. It's the first gameplay you've seen on my channel. And overall, it's a fun little unique World War II war game. I am interested to see how they kind of evolve and flesh out some of these mechanics because a lot of them are rough around the edges. Like the morale mechanic, it's a really interesting mechanic. It can definitely bring you in as a player, but it takes a lot to make that mechanic fun to me. And so what generally happens is you lose control of your character, which can really bring you out of that like experience of managing a squad. And once you kind of lose that control, it just pulls you back into like survival mode, and it really brings you out of the story. It brings you out of a lot of the combat, and then you basically lose control of them for an entire turn. They run away, but when you plan that morale mechanic and that ability to panic and route, you kind of need to make it to where they don't run towards the enemy, if that makes sense, because then that really starts to compound that unfun experience where they your character breaks, they panic, they run towards the enemy, and then just come under more fire, and then they just kind of like get themselves eliminated or killed, and it really brings out like kind of like breaks that immersive experience. And I understand why a lot of developers kind of add this mechanic in, and what usually ends up happening over time is they end up removing it or pulling or refining it. And so to the point of where they don't run towards the enemy, they run back towards their squad, so you kind of get a chance to recover. Because right now when you route, you're going to run towards the enemy 90% of the time. Then you need to heal, but you can't heal for a full turn, so you need to bring your forces up and kind of surround him a little bit. And then he gets an AP disadvantage, and then once you have that AP disadvantage, you can't move and fire as much. So it really like starts to compound. And the healing is a bit subpar as well. You can heal for like 8 or 9, and it can fail too. The healing can fail. You can go up to heal someone and it can fail a little bit. So it's just something to be aware of. Those are a few of the cons that I've experienced during my initial gameplay. Now I'm going to kind of move on to the pros. So the pros of the game, I mean, it's a really good. It looks really good. The graphics are good. The cutscenes are really good. The story's there. The base building's unique. Not so much unique, but it's just fun. Overall, there's a lot of fun, unique mechanics. It does what it's trying to do very well, and I really enjoy these types of gameplay, even though I have like absolutely horrendous luck with them. But it introduces some new mechanics, it adds some new historical characters, and it brings like this turn-based element and kind of celebrates the partisan warfare, which is kind of a fun little area to explore. You're a small ragtag group of units, and you're just setting off against these insurmountable odds, and hopefully you eventually overcome them by the end of the story. I mean, it's a story as old as time, and it's a really immersive, really unique story. An easy one to tell, not so much unique. And the whole point is to kind of develop real good, like engaged storytelling with it. Overall, the gameplay's there. It's got a solid foundation. I mean, there's tons and tons of examples of good World War II tactical turn-based games. So really, it's all about putting your the developer's unique twist on it and kind of just developing it to be in a playable state. Overall, the soldier management's kind of unique. The base management, I mean, it's not unique, but it's kind of fun to like heal and train new units and maintain the morale, and then kind of just like keep a fit fighting force. There's a region campaign. It's going to come primarily in Central Europe with a focus on Czechoslovakia. So that's like a nice, cool little area to explore. We don't get a lot of Czechoslovakia during World War II. I wonder why they chose that. Forgotten but Unbroken does introduce some diplomacy mechanics, a political system that allows people to impress their allies through successful missions, therefore increasing support. So I really want to see how all of that plays out. It's always fun to get like supplies from stronger nations, adding a more fun kind of strategic element to the game. And really, it kind of reminds me of Mercenaries for some reason, where you kind of just like develop a good reputation and you start getting all these weapons, and eventually you just become like this, like a terror on the battlefield. Overall, there's a lot to really enjoy about this. Definitely add it to your wish list. If you enjoy these like tactical war games, you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. I did beat this mission by just running away from it, but my OBS did corrupt. I'm gonna kind of give you my overall impressions next. So my general overall impressions and like kind of review of the graphics are the cutscenes look really, really, really good. I'm interested to kind of explore the diplomacy layer, and it does add like a bunch of mechanics. They come with a lot of turn-based strategy games now, so I'm really interested to see how they evolve them and grow them. I would like to see improvements to the morale system because it's basically like 4 or 5 shots. Right now, units do feel extremely tanky. I haven't played a turn-based strategy game in a while, but it takes like 3 or 4 shots to kind of drop a German soldier at this time. So that kind of adds up a little bit, especially if you're overwhelmed. We're talking like 4 shots and maybe like two include a critical shot, which could be like anywhere between like 48 to 50. So you either roll two criticals and get like 2 shots, or you just do 23, 20, like 23, 33, 23, 33. And it really does create like this tanky experience where you're like kind of fighting off like an overwhelming force just because you don't have a lot of ammo at the time, and the soldiers kind of just have like this feeling of like being unstoppable. There are some mechanics like bleeding, which is really cool. The panic mechanic, not really cool, but I really did enjoy the bleeding mechanic. So like status effects you can inflict on units. I wonder if they're going to embrace those status effects, because if it's just bleeding, then you're kind of one dimensional with it. Throw a frag grenade, cause someone to bleed. If there's things like tear gas, different types of chemical agents, or stuns, flashes, and smokes, I could see this game like kind of becoming really, really complex and a lot of fun. But it's all gonna, at the end of the day, gonna revolve around to how good the AI is. And right now, just based off of the morale stuff, the AI probably just isn't where it needs to be to have those more complex mechanics. I would like to see some buffs to the healing. Healing for 8 or even failing to heal just feels extremely bad. I would like to see some changes there. I mean, this is just generally like a first look. I do want to interact with some of the real protagonists of World War II to see if that really immerses me in the game. It would be cool to include like some sort of like history feature or like things they accomplished or who they are, because if this takes place maybe in like a not so known era of World War II, then you might not know who that person is, and it um might not be as immersive as they'd like or as authentic. Overall, it's a good little war game. I'm excited to check out the full release. Play the demo. I think it's free right now, and you'll definitely enjoy it for sure. And a turn-based tactical World War II game. Let me know what you guys think. Peace.